Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician. And if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. Imagine that you have a lesion on your skin. You're really worried about what it could be. You go to see your doctor and it turns out that it is melanoma, skin cancer, the worst thing it could be. What do you think happens to your anxiety levels? Think about that. We're going to exploit the insight to see how you can reduce anxiety. Hope you're doing really well and welcome to this episode, which I believe is episode 280, in which we'll talk about anxiety in general, sleep anxiety in particular, and how to reduce that using a technique that I knew about the technique from before, but there's an insight that really makes the technique, which the technique revolves around journaling, but the insight from the example in the intro here makes this journaling technique more, it makes you understand why it is so important. So we'll go back to that in a second. I just want to give you a little short backstory of how this episode came to be. So as some of you know, I'm working on this project, which is called the Sleep Coach School. And I'm doing this with Michael Schwartz, who is also very interested in insomnia, my colleague and friend. And we started to create these video modules. And in one of them, I heard him talk about this. I was watching the video module and I was like, this is really insightful. So what he talked about was the following. Like he said, imagine, or in fact, he said this, that studies have shown the following, that when somebody has a particular concern, let's say it is a concern about a lesion on their skin, right? And then they identify this and they start worrying. They think, could it be this? Could it be that? What if it's this? What if it's that? And the worst thing it could be, of course, is melanoma, skin cancer, right? And their anxiety levels are really, really high. They see maybe a dermatologist, let's say, and finally, it turns out that they come back for a follow-up and it was melanoma. Guess what happens to their anxiety levels? It was sky high. When they now know what it is, it goes down. Even though the diagnosis was the worst possible one, the one that they feared the most, the anxiety level still goes down because now this entity is defined. Now you kind of know what you're dealing with. I thought this was really, really important and interesting because what I have noticed all the time is that ambiguity is what drives anxiety. What I know a lot about is sleep anxiety, but I believe anxiety in general is really driven by this ambiguity, the unknown, the what if. When it comes to sleep, it's often, what if I can't fall asleep again? What if I stay up all night? What if I feel really tired? What if I lose my ability to sleep? What if I become crazy? What if I, all that thing, the what if. If you knew that you this would happen or this wouldn't happen or etc., anxiety, sleep anxiety would be reduced. It's the unknown that is really, really driving anxiety. So I saw him doing this video where he talked about this, like, this is really good. I want to talk about this on my channel. Now that we've kind of talked about how the unknown is is what drives anxiety, well, how can we use that knowledge to reduce anxiety? Well, here's what Michael talked about, and what I think is really helpful is journaling. There's many ways of journaling, but journaling in a very simple fashion, meaning you set out maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes per day, where you write down what you are worried about, and perhaps also what you could do. Let's say I'm worried about my sleep. Well, what can you do? Well, you can apply the techniques that we talk about in this channel. Or, I'm worried about my finances. What can you do? Well, I can start saving by doing this, etc. And as often with journaling, I wouldn't expect much to happen, the very first day you do it. But if you keep going and make this kind of like a practice, a habit, then more and more things, you start seeing that a lot of things that you worry about kind of take shape. They become more defined. You understand what you're worried about. You see patterns. You may go back and realize that, oh, I was worried about that, but now I'm less worried about it, etc. So I think journaling is really good because of that it takes something that feels completely unknown to something more known, more definable. And what I learned about the skin lesion example really taught me how that could be a really good, that is a really good thing with journaling, you know, in making something more defined again. So having said this, I just want to conclude here with if you have been maybe following this channel for a while and you feel like you kind of you get a good grip of what you should be doing in terms of your insomnia, maybe you're doing better, and you want to take kind of another step and become somebody that helps people with insomnia, then do tune into our YouTube channel, me and Michael's YouTube channel. It's just simply called The Sleep Coach School, and you'll find it if you just search here on YouTube, and you can see our videos. And I think for even if you're still, you know, if you're struggling with insomnia and it's kind of active, you could learn from that channel as well, because you get kind of a little bit more interaction between me and Michael, which is always helpful. So just a little tip there. So all this said, I hope this was helpful to you. Anyone that has a comment, please leave it. I love every single comment I get. I'm really grateful for them. Or drop an email, daniel@insomniainsight.co, and I'll be back here tomorrow. Until then, take it easy.